To make a letterhead for a business, it needs to be consistent with all of the other things you've designed. So by now you should have finished up your pricing guide as well as a set of business cards. The size of your letterhead document needs to be the average size of a letter size piece of paper. In other words, it needs to be 8.5 inches wide and 11 inches tall. We are designing 3 different versions, so let your page count be 3 with facing pages turned off. As far as the margins go, we can keep this at 1/4 of an inch to start, but we can change this up later on. The bleed, as usual, is going to be 1/8 of an inch on all sides, and we'll say create to give us our new document. Now, just like with the business card, we're going to be using the same contact information. You don't have to put your name on it, but it definitely needs to have the logo and any other design elements that you've been using. To quickly bring these over, I'm going to simply select everything from a business card, Command-C to copy it, and then Command-V to paste it onto here, and we'll drag it off to the side. Now, the challenge for a letterhead design is that we want to have the contact information and the logo nice and prominent, but not take away from the overall appeal of the writing area. We need to have a large enough open area that someone could write a letter, write a note, or type up any important documents to include in whatever business transactions that they have. So we definitely want to keep a nice open space. Typically, all the information is found either at the top, the bottom, or along the margins of your page, leaving the center nice and open. Now I'm going to do something like take our logo, and if I want to put this at the top, remember we can keep this stretched out to take over the entire margin. So I'm going to drag this out, and since I custom drew this, I'll use my direct selection tool to resize and reshape this to fit nicely up here. That looks good. We can either keep my logo inside of this area, and then I can put my contact information outside of it. Since this is a larger area, we can get away with the contact info being larger too. Maybe I've scooted that over a little bit too much, and we'll place it here. That's looking nice. Finally, I can use my little dot elements to either add dots underneath it here, or if I really wanted to decorate the margins, I could do something going along the margin edge. Maybe I want to do that to emphasize this. Again, the design is up to you, but now I have an open area that it can be used for the design of or whatever I need to type out. We still need this to be nice and balanced off. I've got a lot of stuff going on up here at the top. Maybe I want to move things over to make it feel a little bit more better there. I think that looks good. If necessary, I could add things at the bottom to make it feel even more balanced. Maybe for this one, we'll fill it in with a solid color too. I just realized in setting up my InDesign document for my letterhead, we also need to load on the color swatches. So while I'm thinking about it, let's load the color swatches to use for here. This way, and now have choices between purple that can be added, which I think actually balances out a whole lot better down here too. Hey, maybe one thing I could add to the bottom is a thank you for your business. It's not necessary, but if I've got it already set to here, thank you for your business. We'll place that in white. Since I've got the area down here to do it, maybe we'll even put it over to the side and align it with our logo. All right, that's feeling good. Now that I know what area I have in here, let's adjust our margins accordingly. Open up Layout, Margins and Columns. We need to adjust the top, bottom, left, and right. So I'm going to bring the top down till it's inside of this area, since this is the area that we want to set our document into. The left side needs to be inside of that margin here. The bottom edge can be dragged up inside of the purple, and then finally this right margin, maybe I'll give it a little bit more space on that side too. It's aligning now with our logo. All right, with one of these done, let's see what we can do for a second option. I'll select everything on this page and copy it. Let's drag it down here and paste. And again, I'll drag it off to the side so it's kind of out of the way. Maybe for this one, we want to have our contact information to be down at the bottom. I'm going to take our info here, and I'm going to break it up into 3 different boxes so that I can place each one inside of their own individual box. This will make it much easier to move everything around. You can select all of these and quickly resize their frames by going up to Object, down to Fitting, and choose Fit Frame to Content. This will automatically resize those frames so I can place them right where I want them to be. Once again, I'll zoom out. I know I want this content to be at the bottom, so I'm going to place this object down here. Maybe in this case, I'll make it purple, or I can make it any of the other colors. Let's go for a lighter version. I'm going to reshape mine so that's more mountainous on this side. With that done, that looks good. Maybe I can change their color, and let's make those text colors to be white. I still want it to feel balanced, so I'm going to move some things around to put the phone number in the middle. I think that feels much more balanced. Again, we can also add my logo up at the top, and let's swap it over to a full color logo. And since we've got everything at the bottom, I'm going to make this nice and big up at the very top, and this will be my open area to do the writing. I could swap it over to this side, but I kind of like this side. Maybe the last thing I'll do is to add the little dotted line element somewhere in here. I'm going to have it line up nicely with that O or the T. Let's do the O. Just as we've done with the other, the open area that I need to type is this area right here. So it's going to have a large margin up at the top. So open our layout for our margins. In this case, we'll increase the top till it's nice and inside that area. Let's do the left side, and let's do the bottom side. Again, not a lot of room inside here, but again, the purpose of the letterhead is just for you to be able to type out so that you can quickly and easily see your information up here. Let's do one last one for the last page. Again, we'll copy everything, paste it, and let's go really big for this letterhead. Maybe we'll do something special for this logo. One more time, let's choose one of our color logos. In this case, let's use this one color purple one. I want it to be nice and huge and actually take up the entire area. Now, I can't write on that, or at least I can't type anything that's seen, but I can rotate it to the side, either going this way or this way. I kind of like it going that way. And let's drop the opacity of it. With the opacity dropped down to something below 20%, usually around 10 to 15%. This will make it into a good watermark. With it watermarked across my page, now it's easily seen and my entire page has a nice starting point for its decoration. Let's do something that's more margin-centric and leaving everything else opened up. In this case, maybe I'll make the side of it be purple. That looks good. I'll make my Wingshot logo be much smaller too. We'll put our contact information over here on the side. Let's see what size we can get away with it. Right now it's at 12 point. There it is at 9 point. Nice and small. Of course, we need it to be white to be noticeable. You can rotate things to the side. It is a little bit harder to read it this way, so I wouldn't always recommend doing that. But if you can get things to fit nicely inside of this area without making your margins too big, you can also do that as well too. In my case, a single margin up here isn't going to be enough. Let's do something creative along this edge. Maybe in this case, I'll take the idea and rotate it this way. Now I've got a nice area that everything can sit into. We can make this be larger. Let's bring in our leading. And I like the idea of thank you for your business. Maybe we'll rotate that and put that inside of this area. Instead of it being 100% white, we'll do a tint of purple on this one too. Choose purple, choose purple for your type. Got to throw some orange in there, so let's make this be orange. And finally, let's set our margins. Open up page margins, increase the top till it's inside of this area. That looks good. Same way for our right-hand side this time. Our left-hand side. And then the bottom can stay the same down there. All right, the gist of it again is that you're designing the top, bottom, and the margins and giving yourself an open area to be able to put a letter inside of this. It's got to have the same contact information, but it doesn't have to have your name as part of it. Also, the style and feel of the letterhead needs to fit the style and feel of both your business cards and also your pricing guide. As we've done with the others, save this up as an InDesign file and also export it as a PDF.